Hi, welcome to today's video. My name is Lucas Linnarsson, and today I will talk about what it might look like living a longer and working a longer life. Is it really a blessing or is it a curse? And I will touch topics like what it might look like to work and what our private life might look like and what both businesses and society might have to think about in this changing playing field of longevity that we have going on for the future right now. And even though it might not play out this way, I believe that it's a super interesting topic and it will be interesting to dig down into it anyway. So let's just start straight away. And okay, before we start, I just wanted to say that mainly this video is based on this book that is called 100-Year Life, and a lot of the inspiration for this video came from there, even though I will mix it up with some other readings and my own personal experiences. But yeah, I can really recommend you to read this book. And no, it's not a sponsorship or something like that. It's just that I really enjoy this book myself. And before we start, don't forget to hit subscribe and the like button if you want to help me out. That would also be super awesome. So as the life expectancy is really increasing, especially in our wealthy countries, even though it is growing around the whole world basically. But if you are born today in a wealthy country, such as my country, then your likeliness of hitting around 100 years is about 50%, and it is really high if you compare to, for example, my grandparents' generation or their parents' generation, where it was almost, I wouldn't say impossible, but it didn't happen so often. And you might have gotten this, like this private personal letter from some important person, and although I might hit 100, I don't think that it's so likely that I will have an important person write me in person. So things are changing, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, because up until now, our parents and those who came before them, they have basically lived according to a model that is called a three-stage life model. And that means that you make an education, you go to work, and then when you have worked your ass off, it's basically time to retire and live your life. And that has been the norm for society so far. But this is slowly changing, and the applicability of this three-stage life is not really so good when it comes to living a longer life. So if you will live until you're 100, it won't make the same sense. So I do believe that it's important to take this discussion and talk about these topics um, for a lot of reasons. For example, the old generations, they have to understand why young people of today live the way they do, so that they don't push a lifestyle that is actually not feasible for the young people by saying you have to do this, you have to educate, you have to work and then retire, because that might not be true. Because if you are in your 20s, 30s, and maybe even 40s, you might not be possible to retire or live this three-stage life the way that we are seeing it today or that we are used to. We might have to take a bigger responsibility, because it makes sense. If you think about it, if we live till we are 100 and we would retire when we're 65, that would mean that we have to be in retirement for basically 35 years. And who is going to pay for that? Yeah, that has to come somewhere. That money has to come from someone, and that would be from those who work. And we also have the problem that the generational shifts are not really equal. They're not really balanced. So we have upcoming generations now that are less people in absolute numbers than those who actually retire. So we will have less people that will pay for our retirements and pensions and from working, and a lot more people that would need these pensions and retirements. And that will, yeah, if you think about it, that will maybe be hard to balance. At the same time, I know that there's a lot of people that are against this, and they're like, I'm not going to work longer. Why should I do that? And why should I do that? And I can understand the frustration, but at the same time, if you think about it, if you are living until you're 100 and you have a a healthy mind and you're young and vital still, then why not work a little bit extra in order to make it possible to actually retire? Or you have to be more proactive and make sure that you have enough money to retire early by paying yourself. But I don't think it's fair to say that the system just should be able to I don't know, contribute to us kicking back and relaxing for just more and more years without doing anything extra for it. So we for sure have some personal responsibilities, and society also have, or the governments also have a lot of responsibility to try to build a system that works for this. But I mean, it doesn't have to be all bad and so on. It also opens up more possibilities. I mean, we can do more things. We get so much more time to our disposal. They say that we have about 100,000 hours more of a productive time. Imagine what you can do out of that. Sure, a lot of that will probably be put into work, but you could also learn new skills and so on. So this is what I think will come for the future. I think that we will have to live a life that is more about re-education, reskilling, like that you get new skills, that we are diversifying the way we work, that we are jumping around much more and trying different things out. As they're talking about in the book, that you might take different periods in life where you explore and transform yourself to get to know yourself, what you like, and so on. That you have these transitions in life where you transition over from maybe one industry to another at work, or where you change friends groups, or maybe even switch countries and so on, and that you have education within this. And I think that instead of living this very linear three-stage life, we will have like more of a net of possibilities, opportunities, but also responsibilities of creating a life that is much more diverse, in order to actually be able to, first of all, work longer, but also to manage ourselves in a longer life with friends and family, and balancing health with everything else that we want to do with our lives. So I believe that education is going to be really important. It's already important to have an education today. Sure, you can get a good job and you can live an awesome life without like a formal education, but some sort of education and learning will be crucial for the future, even more than it is today. And I think that the traditional school system and universities will not make it. They will have to really reform themselves and rebuild from the foundation up, in order to handle this new society. I believe that's my opinion. Even though some of the classicals will still be there, of course, but the way we do it, I think, will have to change. I do believe that education will be a bigger part of several part of our lives. We cannot just go to university, then think that that's going to be enough. You will have to re-educate yourself and reskill yourself continuously. So continuous learning will be very important, and it will be up to us as single individuals to keep our knowledge up to date if we don't want to become obsolete, and if we want to keep our employability on the job market. Because it will be up to us to make sure that we have the skills that are needed, as society is changing much much faster than ever, and we need to keep up with everything, technology, norms, models, everything. And those who will say that's not for me, I don't care, they will have a less competitive situation. Those who will educate themselves, see, okay, this is the industries that are rising, I'll go towards this, blah blah blah, they will have a competitive advantage towards everyone else. So I think that for those who really want to lead themselves and sit in the driver's seat of their own life, education will be a main part of this. Another part that I do believe is crucial and has always been crucial is the social life, but I think that it will become even more complex as we grow older. So we will need a more diverse network of people. It will be harder and harder to keep these friendships alive for all of these years. and we will most likely have to work even harder to keep these social contacts, to take care of our friends, to show that they have a value, to nurture, or like to really take care of our networks of people around, and that you make sure that you are also an important part in the network, and that you are valuable to others. And I think and hope, and I can already see it a little bit with my own education. Most of my classmates are younger than me, and I hope that it will become more and more like this. And they are also discussing it in the book, that generations are getting less segregated, and that we are instead coming together, so that you can have friends that we might not see it so much in age and stages of life, but rather just as people, so that you will have friends that are in different ages and doing different things. So I hope that we will find this common ground somehow, and that we might not stereotype ourselves so much according to age, or if we're a student, or if we're an adult or a worker. That it's rather more like we see ourselves as people, and we have different phases, that is transforming, transition, exploring, and education, and so on. And that I hope for our social, that is what I hope for when it comes to at least my social life and my life. But how about money? The ever never ending question about, will the money be enough? Do I have enough? Nah. But when we think about the finances or the financial situation of living a longer life, then of course that might sound like a very depressive topic. But I think and hope that more and more young people are watching videos like this and start saving earlier, and plan their finances a little bit more careful for the future, to realize that the more we can save and maybe even invest so that it grows, because yeah, I don't know if you know, but money is losing value with inflation. So trying to invest it to make it grow instead is a much better strategy. And especially through a long life, then most likely you will have much more money, since you can get interest on interest. But that's another topic. But the more you save and make it possible for yourself to have a foundation of money, if possible, then of course you can give yourself maybe an early retirement. You can give yourself more time and space to have these transformational and exploratory and these transitions in life, without feeling so much stress and anxiety. So I do believe that finances are something that you really have to take into consideration in a long life, and you should start early. I started saving for retirement already at age 19, and I have no clue how many of my friends who have done that, but I don't think a lot of them, or at least maybe just some of them. But this will become more and more important. And of course, then you also should take in consideration that you have a job which pays you good and give you as much benefits as possible, maybe an extra retirement and pension fund or so on. But this will depend on the country, your situation, and I know that there's no pre-made formula for this. I am still trying to figure my finances out and how I want to do it. I just know that I save and I invest. I use the stock market as much as I can to make the money grow. And it has never been easier to actually get into these topics. I mean, just Google some things, or go to YouTube, and people will teach you everything you need to know about finances. And you have digital tools to save and invest and so on. So it has never been easier to actually look into your finances. So, last but not least, I just want to talk about some of the managerial implications about this. Why is it important for businesses to understand this topic? I mean, first of all, if you, as a business owner or a manager or whatever, want talent to come to your company, then you have to stop, for example, judge CVs that has gaps in them, because maybe that was a transition period where this person get to know themselves. They might have traveled, read books, and learned a lot of new things. Um, and also not judge people by not doing this traditional three-stage life model anymore. You have to open up because the people that is most mindful and maybe most creative and innovative and open-minded that you really want into your companies might be the ones with more gaps and more jumps between industries and different types of work, just to get to know themselves. So that is one of the implications. And then I also do believe that to retain the talent in companies, to maintain these people that are coming from upcoming generations and from my generation and so on, you as a company need to develop systems that allows for these kind of livings to happen, or lives to happen, that they might be able to take sabbatical years, sorry, to educate themselves, that you provide education, continuous learning, improvements, developments, and so on, and that you're more open-minded. We need to create a society and business climate and work climate that allows for these kind of work, and that will be very important for managers to understand. So I guess that we are all together kind of responsible of creating these opportunities and this future type of living. And of course, these transitions and this change will always take a little bit of time. But I just want to say to everyone out there that might be in a younger generation and are young today, that don't always listen to your elders when they tell you you have to cut your hair and get a job. You cannot just play around and travel around and try things out. That's not how it works out. Because actually, that might be exactly what you have to do in order to survive in the future. So, creating a diverse base of learnings and skills and everything might be the best thing to do. So, just go out there and live your life and try to figure the best possible life for yourself as you can, even though it's a leap of faith and it's really hard. We have no full answers to anything of this. Just try it out the best you can. And I love the quote with Gary Vee. He always says, like, you're not lost, you're just early in the process. And that's a really good quote that I try to live by. I don't know. I am also struggling and going, it feels like I go into a maze sometimes, but that's life. With these words, I just want to say thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe you even learned something new. If you liked it, hit the like button and subscribe. Maybe even share it with someone that you really care for. Until next time, I hope that you take care of yourself and everyone around you. Bye.